He was good.
Who was the guy? Well, they had a great article about Clyde Sukeforth. You ever heard of that guy?
No.
He was a guy that was in baseball for a million years and was the guy that literally told Branch Rickey, like Branch Rickey goes, check out this Jackie Robinson kid. This might be the first black player. So he was one of those guys that was just he's this Zelig figure that was there forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
All right.
I mean, he's not as important a figure in American history as Donald Trump Jr.
Did you see that fucking video?
Yes.
That 2-minute video?
Yes.
Oh my God.
We need to discuss that. Yes.
Oh my God.
That right there should be. It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable as in great.
Yeah. Well, the dance moves that Kimberly Guilfoyle has, number one.
All right.
I'm sharing now. All right, I'm ready when you are.
Come on.
Eric Kasnia chiming in as always. Hello, Wisconsin. Go Packers. Go Packers. Are y'all shared?
I think so.
The sharing is caring.
Okay. Yeah, we're there.
All right.
There. Yeah. It is an all-new special Friday edition of the Brad and Britt cast here in the 1:30 Eastern Time hour. Hey, how are you? Good to have you here. Good to have you here.
Good. I'm okay.
Yeah. Everybody's fine. And when we were last together here on the Brad and Britt cast, it was Wednesday morning.
Think about
this.
Yeah.
So this was before.
Yeah.
The riots, before the insurgency, before the terrorism.
Great patriotic rally was taking place, I believe,
in Washington. Yeah, I mean, this was before that. And let's talk about the little video thing that has widely circulated. A lot of people have seen it by now. It's easy to find. Drudge links to it. It's 2 minutes of whatever is left of Hitler's bunker, standing there watching TV. And I think the timing on this must be right after Trump had spoken to the group.
Yeah.
And
there's like a VIP tent with goodies, food and water and stuff.
That's what that was. And of course, what did he do there? He lied and said, I'm going to walk with you down. So
he didn't.
By the way, that's his first lie in 4 years.
I mean, it's about time he told one.
Right. Anyway, so in between that moment where he addressed the crowd and egged them on and incited the riot and set himself up for all kinds of wonderful local prosecutions in addition to the federal charges, which he thinks he's going to be able to pardon himself or somehow threaten Mike Pence into, although I'm pretty sure Mike Pence. Let's place some bets now, because this is a good bet, because we're going to know in less than 2 weeks whether we're right or wrong. now that Trump has officially thrown Mike Pence under 5 buses, all right, and just trashed him, just said, because you were not in on the plot, because you refused to do,
Well, yeah.
because you did what you were supposed to do. You did your job. As always, if you lie for Trump, you're good. If you tell the truth and you're honest, you're bad.
There's all these stories that the rioters were coming for him. They wanted to hang him from a fucking tree. They wanted Mike Pence. They wanted his ass.
Well, of course they do, because he didn't do the right thing.
He betrayed quotes Donald Trump.
I mean, he betrayed America, right? I mean, we get that. So that avenue is now closed off. I can resign and Pence will pardon me, for the few days that he's president game. That one seems to be gone. I don't think Pence is going to do that.
But I wish he would lie and say that he would do it and then not do it. I wish he would say, I agree to pardon you if you'll resign, then do it and then go, psych. I wish that would happen, Brad.
That is too good of an outcome.
I know.
That's too fantastic.
I know.
That's too excellent.
That's what I want.
Right. Okay, so that can't happen. We know Trump is not going to, on his own, resign here over the next few weeks. Although the fact that he could feel the heat enough to be forced into making that cheesy ass hostage video on Thursday night.
What was that?
Where he read off the teleprompter, and first he said standard issue presidential things that you say, and then completely lapsed into, but the people, we still love you, you still love me, and we're going to be back, and we're not going anywhere, and the best is yet to come, and all that shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So now that he has said that, and we know he's not going to resign, because that would make him a loser, and now that he said that he's not going officially to the inauguration, and we are all so much less for that.
I had so many bets that I lost on that.
I was so looking forward to him ruining Joe Biden's inauguration, but he can't even bring himself to do that, because apparently, like you just said, that would be perceived as weakness.
Right.
That would be perceived as acknowledging something, which he really tacitly admitted Thursday night in that video, that there's going to be another administration, and it's not going to be the second Trump administration, which, by the way, it was funny the first time they said it. It's still funny. So he's not. So since you've said you're not going to the inauguration, which breaks the streak of 44 presidents in a row showing up at the next person's inauguration, whether it was beating the previous person in an election or just the natural, everybody did it. And by the way, there have been a lot of transitions where the new guy and the old guy didn't get along. It's not Trump's not the first person.
That's exactly right.
He's perfected it and taken it to a high art.
That's correct.
Pettiness. So the fact that he's not going to that's official. He's now said, I am so checked out, I can't even be bothered to do the most elementary thing. Which, by the way, we're all glad he's not going to be there. It's really a good thing that he's not going to be there. But putting that aside, of course, he was supposed to have been there. I think Pence is going to show up in his place, so he can leave. So now you're left with 25th Amendment and impeachment.
Okay.
There's going to be no 25th Amendment. That's not going to happen, because
why do you say that?
Well, because Pence isn't going to do that. He's just not. And considering that we have a 4-year track record of all these people who have been in his cabinet being scared shitless of him, they praise, that's just not going to happen.
But you saw that even Pompeo and Mnuchin are looking into it.
But they're talking about it. Okay, I don't go for the CNN reports they've been talking about it.
I am getting tired of Jay Cipollone is thinking really hard about resigning. Yeah. I'm really getting tired of that shit.
Right. So that's not going to happen. So now you move into the impeachment.
It has to be impeachment
neighborhood. And apparently they really can do this really, really quickly if they want to. But early this afternoon, Joe Johns of CNN said, well, I expect to be able to do this by next week. What do you mean fucking by next? Next week's the last week. No, you have to do it at 3:00 this afternoon. No.
I could not agree more. And this is where I'm really frustrated with Speaker Pelosi about, we'll take a look at it Monday. Maybe no, it has to happen now. There's 2 articles. First of all, inciting a riot where 5 people ended dead at the nation's capital, including 2 police officers. That's Article 1. Article 2 is trying to get the Secretary of State of Georgia to fraudulently fix an election. That's it. Boom, boom. And you make the Republicans get out their shit and start clocking a calendar. You make them do that. And then you get over to the Senate and you make them wring their hands and bitch about, oh, it's not fair. Donald Trump's not getting fair process. Make them go on record and say that shit. Make them do it, and do it today. It cannot happen soon enough, because today she has the thing where, I went to the Joint Chiefs of Staff and I've received reassurances that he's not going to use the nuclear codes to kill anybody. Well, that's just great. That makes me feel 100% better. Why do we have a higher standard for a Twitter account than we do the fucking nuclear codes? Answer me that. Riddle me that one, Batman. Why is this not happening today?
Right.
Why is it not happening today?
He's been kicked off of Facebook forever, but he still has the nuclear codes. I get it. Yeah, that's a little bit disconcerting. And in fact, let me say it the right way. I'm very concerned about that, Britt. It really disturbs me.
That's great. Thank you, Ms. Collins. That's great.
It's keeping me up at night. I don't know what to do about that problem. That Donald Trump still has the nuclear codes, but he can't be on Twitter, which oh boy. But
there's no reason.
Maybe we could be wrong here, and they might do it next Tuesday or something like that, and they can do it in less than 2 days. And the important thing is to get that second impeachment on his record. That would be the most important and exciting 2-time loser thing on someone's record since Brad got fired a second time from WBT. Okay, well, I think I can do that twice. I got fired by 2 different ownerships, 2 different managers,
the same station,
on the same station within 10 years of itself.
Two completely incompetent partners. How did you do it? It was crazy. Right. Explain to us.
I always just blame the other guy. It's never my fault.
Yeah, you picked 2 losers back to back.
Never my fault.
How did you do it?
It's never. Well, but I mean, you're right. What you want is you want these Republicans one more time to have to go on the record after not only what's happened the last 3 years, 11 months of Trump's term, but here in the last month, in the last 6 weeks, in the last 4 days, do you want to go on record as still saying that Donald Trump should not be tossed from the president? That he
Make him do
not
that.
Be convicted. And if they want to use the excuse, we're not going to do it because there's only 4 days left, no one will believe it.
Make them say it. Make them say that. Make them fucking say that. Make them go on the record and say that this is not fair. This man is being bum rushed. I want to hear the words out of. I want to hear the words out of their stupid mouths. And here's the other thing about it is, if you are impeached and removed from office, you are then disqualified from holding federal office ever again. So there are a few people who might be running in 2024. Hey, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, if you can't really think about the interest of the country, think about your own self-interest.
Oh, they would never do that.
Do it.
That's not how they roll.
Do it. Your chance to get rid of this guy and have him not be a factor in 2024 can start tomorrow. Ted Cruz. If you think Hawley has any chance at Cotton, Marco Rubio, whoever is in that, maybe Lindsey Graham thinks he can run 2024. Get this guy out of the way and get him out of your life forever. This is how you can wash that man right out of your hair, Republican Party. You have fucked up for 4 years, and you have the opportunity in a day it could happen. In 1 day it could happen, and you could expel this, and you would not suffer a penalty. What's going to happen? Are people going to storm the Capitol and try to lynch you? Oh, wait a minute. I think that already happened. Motherfuckers, come on. Everybody needs to get a grip here. And I'm talking about Nancy Pelosi. I'm talking about the leadership in the House too. I love when they did the original impeachment and everything went slowly and they were trying to do things in a judicious manner. That's great. That's over. When you incite a riot in our Capitol that's never been seen since 1814, things have changed a little bit, Brad. Things need to be going at a little higher rate of speed because we do have a madman in there.
It's hard to recall all the little ins and outs of what happened during the whole impeachment process a year ago. But if I'm not incorrect, Donald Trump was offered the ability to come in and defend himself, right? And of course, he was never going to do it, but they do.
You offer
make
it.
that offer. You let the person defend them.
In Ocean's 13, I believe they called it a Billy Martin. You give him a chance to come back and make it good. That's what they call it.
And of course, they were never going to let him do that. The same way they didn't let him talk to Robert Mueller or anything like that. But again, maybe this would be the moment where he decides I'm just gonna come in there and show everybody how, because he wants the show.
Of course he does.
That would be the ultimate final.
The spotlight is right on you. It is shining bright and hot, son. Go for it. Yeah. You're there. But again, you make the Jim Jordans of the world. And who is that? That idiot? Is it that Doug Collins guy from Georgia? Yeah. All these people that were crying, these crocodile tears about how this man was being railroaded in the first. You make these people go on the record and talk about how unfairly Donald Trump is being treated. You make these people do that. And I would point out, if you'd like, Lindsey Graham made a big deal about Benghazi, stretched that out for 3 or 4 years. More people died at the Capitol than died at Benghazi. It was a terrorist attack on American soil in our nation's capital at the Capitol building. So if anybody again wants to, we're going too fast, it's not fair, oh my God, this is, oh no, this isn't right. No, make them go on the record and say that. Make his defenders in the United States Senate, make the Hawleys and the Lindsey Grahams and the Ted Cruzes and the Ron Johnsons, make them go on the record and say, oh, this is so unfair and the president is being treated so unfairly. Oh my God. Make them do that. I want a record of that so that the people can see what's going on. That absolutely should be done in the next 5 seconds, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I just wonder if they can set this up with rules so that let's say each side in the House gets 15 people to speak for 5 minutes, 75 minutes.
Yep.
There you go. On each side. You can't do this thing where everybody gets to.
Nope.
There's not enough time for that. So each side gets 15 people and they each get 5 minutes. And then over in the Senate, you give, 15 senators 5 minutes each. So in about 3-4 hours, you've done all the yakking and then vote.
That's it.
See it.
Done, save, done. That's it. That's all you got. I'm sorry. That's how it works. You saw that when Connor Lamb called them liars in the House of Representatives, and Connor Lamb from Pennsylvania, the Republicans are ready to fight. There was almost a fist fight on the House on the House floor. That was on, I think, Thursday. They were ready to go. And
Thursday at 1:15 a.m.
It's remarkable what I've seen in this country over the past couple of days, and a number of people who I thought were just so concerned about blue lives and blue lives mattered. They seem to be fairly silent about the death of 2 police officers on Wednesday. They're not quite as upset as they were when somebody would get a hangnail last summer during the George Floyd protests. It's unusual.
I think again, time will start to sort these kinds of things out. But what it feels like, and again, we live in a country of feelings. We don't deal with facts. We just go by feelings. No, but the facts show that a lot of the Capitol Police were acquiescent, were complicit, looked the other way, didn't want to confront, didn't want to fight, were sympathetic with the people coming in to trash the Capitol, the Capitol that they are sworn to protect as Capitol police officers. So do we now have an embedded fifth column of anti-American people in law enforcement, not just in the Washington, D.C. Capitol Police
and
but
military
across the country and the military?
and military. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, again, since Trump is the practitioner here in the early 21st century of Hitler's big lie theory, what did he say? We heard it 100 times when things got tense, when things got hot. The police love me. They're on my side. The military, they're on my side. They've got my back. Variations on that. And like everything else, Trump is this repetitive drone, but an effective communicator to people who want to believe this bullshit. And you can see at a lot of these events where police officers and firefighters look like they really like Trump. They're really into him. They're digging it. They are digging it. When he was out on Long Island and made that little spiel, like, don't be too nice to these MS-13 people when you put them in the paddy wagon.
Right.
Don't put their head down nicely. Don't be nice to. Oh, that was the greatest thing ever. That was such a great thing. That was so wonderful. Right. That because he's a tough guy. Don's a tough guy.
Clearly, that's why he was marching. That's why he was marching among them on Wednesday, because he's so tough.
Right. Right. So when you hear about, well, there has to be an investigation.
Yeah.
Now you're wondering, well, who's doing the investigating?
Well, that's not an unfair point.
And how far is this? And I don't want to sound like liberal Joe McCarthy, and it's 1952, but Donald Trump has poisoned this country. He has unleashed the poison. Not that there hasn't been hate and prejudice and racism before. Of course there has been. It's always been there. But he opened up the spigot. And he will not help to close it. He will keep it open. He will keep doing whatever he does. I hope Twitter bans him permanently. That would be very, very helpful. It wouldn't solve the problem. It wouldn't change America tomorrow. I know that. But God damn it, shut him off. Shut him off from that. And I know he'll go on Parler. I don't care.
Because it doesn't matter. Yeah. How many riots does he need to incite in the Capitol, and how many people have to die before they do disable the thing immediately? Because I mean, we've agreed that's what he did.
Right. Facebook kicked him off. It appears forever. Okay, good for them. But of course, they're only about 3.5 years too late.
That NSL podcast, the National Security Law podcast with Steve Vladeck and Bobby Chesney, there's some good discussion on there about inciting sedition. And they actually feel the case for inciting sedition. They're not using the word treason because that's like a much heavier lift. They feel like the case against Rudolph Giuliani may be a little bit stronger than it is for Donald Trump based on what Rudy said during that rally.
Well, not only that, because he doesn't have any aura of presidential anything.
Exactly.
Even trailing him, then he seems to be, for the purposes of the discussion, a low-hanging fruit here. I mean, because he acted like Trump for the last few years in saying, here are the shitty, illegal things I'm going to do. I dare you to stop me, which that's Trump's modus operandi. You know, I can shoot people on Fifth Avenue and I will still have supporters. And it turns out he wasn't exactly right about it being Fifth Avenue. He meant Constitution Boulevard.
Yeah. Pennsylvania Avenue.
Pennsylvania Avenue, Constitution Avenue in Washington.
That's right.
Not to joke about it because it's not funny.
No, because it happened.
But as you have probably read and heard, they are defending this all the way in the usual quarters. You know, you have to understand that from what I'm gathering, what I've watched, what I've read. Why don't you understand why these people did that? Why are you so unwilling?
I don't care.
Okay, this is like Hillbilly Elegy, the book on steroids.
Yeah.
Okay? And again, I don't want to play the back and forth if blah 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 blah. If someone ever said, "Why do you think people who support Black Lives Matter burn down a building.
Yeah.
You know, you're not allowed to ask that. And you know what? You shouldn't ask that because they committed a crime and they should be arrested.
Right.
But now, suddenly, when it's a bunch of loser white Christians, I hate to say it, but that's the core.
Yes,
that's who they are.
That's exactly right.
Didn't make it, you know, and are susceptible to this kind of shit. The rest of us are supposed to be sympathetic to the famous root causes. Root causes, a phrase that goes back to the 1960s when the original studies were done on violence in the black community. If we could just understand the root causes of why there's homelessness, why so many black children are born and there's no father there. We need the root causes. And it was technically true, but the phrase has lost all its meaning anymore. And to think that we are obligated right now to sit back and allow the trashing of the U.S. Capitol, the attempted really murder of members of the Congress, the attempted murder of the Vice President of the United States, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
If they could have gotten their hands on him, you don't think they would have done it? And by the way, you know, they arrested that Proud Boys guy driving up to Florida on the way, and he was ready to rock. They got him, but
the numbers 1, 2, and 3 human beings in line of succession were in that building. Numbers 1, 2, and 3. So I mean, it's not like it's a small thing. Both vice presidents, by the way, both the one that's coming in and the one that's already there, were both in that building. I mean, yeah, it is a federal crime to enter the House floor without permission. Period. That just start with that. If you go on there and you accidentally take a turn instead of going to take a piss, you've committed a federal crime. Let alone coming in there armed, coming in there with tear gas and Axe body spray, whatever the fuck these people were doing. By the way, Richard Barnett, who was seen sitting at a desk in Speaker Pelosi's office, has been arrested in Arkansas and charged with entering and remaining on restricted grounds. If I am not mistaken,
he already made it back to Arkansas.
Already made it back to Arkansas. Yeah, yeah. But if I am not mistaken, I believe that the President of the United States made the penalties tougher for screwing up and screwing around with federal property last summer. If I'm not mistaken.
That was when Negroes were ripping down statues of Confederate soldiers.
I believe he did that. I believe he stiffened the penalties for messing with federal property.
Right. This is probably equivalent to that. So it's 10 years. But let's look at the reality of the situation in which we live, which is that every moment of legitimate law and order, and this is the kind of law and order that really matters right now.
This matters, yeah, exactly.
Right. It isn't making sure that you arrest a guy for selling single cigarettes on the streets of Staten Island,
yes,
and pin him to the ground and
kill him. Yeah,
right. That's not law and order.
No.
This is real law and order for the people. If we get to that point where a lot of these people are in court and they are convicted and they are sent to prison, they immediately become, if they haven't already, I believe the woman who was in the Army, the 35-year-old who was shot, she had been Facebook Live just minutes before she was shot, and she was shot by a police officer there. She's already a martyr. Okay. The date January 6th now enters the hate paranoia right-wing lexicon, the anti-government lexicon, along with Hitler's birthday. Is that April 19th or 20th?
16th. I believe it's April 16th. I thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to get together with my Proud Boys and see when we're going to celebrate this year.
They're going to turn this into an anniversary. They're going to turn it into a thing. The T-shirts, I'm sure, are already printed up. And so we're caught in this vortex of law enforcement must take place. And when it does, it will spark a backlash among these people. And again, if we could just understand why they're so upset,
I know it's so hard.
understanding.
I think part of it was that there was a black president. If I could just really kind of underline that, that's what started a lot of their anger for some reason or other. That seems to have been part of.
I think you're underselling what happened in 1860 to 1860.
Well, there's that. You
There's
do
no
have a fair
over
point.
that. This
Yeah.
is
Well,
the same thing.
You did see a fair amount of Confederate flags on Wednesday, didn't you?
There you go.
Which is strange because just like the South, they lost too. So I see a real kind of a.
Britt, they don't look at that as a loss. There was no loss for them. Do you think there was a loss?
They lost.
There was no
they
loss.
lost the election. The Electoral College voted. The guy that they supported lost and is not going to be inaugurated on January the 20th.
This was a victory for them. They believe this was a victory because they made the statement. They put the rest of us on notice that they're not going to sit by and allow the illegitimate president, Joe Biden, to govern this country. They're going to,
and that's why they're ending up in jail right now. That's why they're going to jail. And that's why one of them tased himself and had a heart attack and died. That's how great that these marksmen are, these people who own the guns and know how to use them. That's how awesome they are. One motherfucker tased himself, had a heart attack, and died. So yeah, I don't see it.
I'm not vouching for their skills.
I don't see that as a win. That's not a win.
I don't see it as a win either. But I'm telling you that among themselves, just the pictures, just the video, just the marauding around inside the Capitol is we showed them. Mm-hmm. They couldn't stop us, and they won't be able to stop us in the future. Our leader is unbowed. He was cheated. It was taken from him, and we still believe in him. That's still there, and it doesn't go away on January 20th. And because he's such a piece of shit, he's going to do absolutely nothing except stoke it and foster it and throw gasoline on it and keep it going.
I think they're planning. I think there's word of them planning another demonstration on the 20th. I think they're trying to assemble again on Inauguration Day itself.
They're waiting that long? I'm surprised.
Well, they're really good at being patient. So and you've already seen the resignation of two truly horrible cabinet members. Elaine Chao and particularly Betsy DeVos have said, "Bye, we're out."
It means nothing. It means nothing. It means nothing.
I love that this was their line, though. Okay, we were okay with everything up until Wednesday.
Forget it.
Up until then, we were good.
Right. Yeah. Because this will help them gussy up their resume when they go for job interviews.
That's the other thing, that there's staff members that are hanging around the White House. And apparently, they're extremely depressed because they think they've ruined their careers by being part of this. Like, they're unhireable in the future. That's part of their depression. Oh, it's so great. Melania's chief of staff also departed. She decided she was going to peace out as well. That happened on Wednesday.
I don't care. You should have never been there in the first place.
Now they're
been there in the first place. I have no respect for you. It means nothing. These mean nothing. Although you must say that my original dream at the beginning of the administration is closer to coming true every moment, which is Trump by himself, and there are fewer and fewer people around him.
Yeah,
by himself in that room upstairs. And you've read the stories. He apparently has made it very, very clear. I don't want to fucking talk to anybody. Get the hell out of here. I'm busy.
Busy what?
I'm busy changing channels and tweeting. And now that here's the ultimate dilemma. For Trump, which one of those, if they were taken away, would be more painful for Trump? Taking away his remote control, no TV, yeah, or no phone. Which one? You got to pick.
I think it's taking away the TV. I think he has to have the TV. Yeah. And I'm gonna go one further than I watched Fox, so you didn't have to. I bit the bullet. I fucking watched Newsmax on Wednesday.
Oh, hello.
I watched Newsmax, and I watched the first few minutes of the Sean Spicer show, and Sean Spicer called them a mob and said it was outrageous and that they should not have been attacking the Capitol of the United States. And he said, I don't care. If you guys want to excuse this by saying the other side started it, I don't care. you guys are a bunch of this is a mob, and you guys should not be doing it. Even on Newsmax, even on the craziest of the crazy channels.
Right, but I don't think you watched long enough to see what I'm sure was later equivocation, was later, people feel left behind. People feel their government doesn't care about them. And Donald Trump, he made them feel better. So therefore, but they shouldn't have. Okay. There's always a yeah, but there's always a what about? And of course, then there's and it's really, really pervasive. These were lefties. These were Antifas dressed up as us.
I love this.
And they're going for it. They're going for it heavy because it's so easy. It's so simple. But as always, just like with all of the charges that were thrown at the 60 or so court cases after the election, there's no evidence. It didn't happen. It doesn't exist. And I'm sure they will find absolutely not one person who decided to infiltrate and try to, quote, make that crowd look bad by participating in trashing the U.S. Capitol. Didn't happen. But they're going to say it, and it's going around. It's all over the place.
You and I had mentioned this before. There's that video of Donald Trump Jr. That he took. There's apparently a VIP tent at the sedition extravaganza, and there were a lot of TVs set up, and they were playing Gloria by Laura Branigan. By the way, Miss Branigan has made her feelings known on Twitter that she does not like the fact that they used her song.
I thought she was dead.
No, she's still with us. Someone from her
like her that's dead. Who is
somebody who's just like her who's dead?
Black hair, probably about 55 or 60 now. Damn it, there's somebody like that.
It's either someone from her estate who has said that they did not like the use of that, and they did not approve it. And they've got Kimberly Guilfoyle. What a piece of absolute plastic garbage this woman is. They've got her dancing to Gloria as people are invading the Capitol, and Donald Trump Jr. is exhorting them on. And his father is right there watching television from the VIP tent at the sedition rally. Sedition-a-palooza is going on, and these people are having just the time of their lives. It reminds me, I would hear in history class about these people.
It's like a James Bond film where the evil guy, whoever it is surrounded by lackeys, and they're watching torture on TV or something.
I would hear these things in history class about how, like at Bull Run, people would pack a picnic to go watch the fighting during the Civil War, right? They would have like tea, and they would have their servants would bring them sandwiches and stuff. It was an afternoon out, and it's just appalling and disgusting. And am I supposed to? Well, now, if I understood the root cause of why Don Jr. is in that tent, watching his girlfriend shake her ass while these people are, maybe I would understand the entire Antifa, or the entire MAGA movement. I'm not sure.
Just think about how the herd is being culled down to the last few, and almost without exception, and apparently Mark Meadows doesn't know better.
What a piece of garbage!
But it's really been culled down to people who have an interest in the estate of Donald J. Trump. They're the only ones left.
Well, yes.
Right?
Well,
that's right.
There's nobody, we've said this a lot of times. You and I have these people in our lives who love us. And if we're making an absolute fool of ourselves, these people will come to us and go, you really should stop. You look stupid. And you're making me and you're making us look stupid. Everyone should have people in their life he doesn't have anyone in his life. Those children don't love him. That's the gravy train. They don't have any job skills. They can't earn money on their own. They need the overflow from his largesse and these people that he bilks out of all of this money in order to keep on. No one loves him enough to tell him to stop. You make yourself look like a fucking idiot. Nobody does that. His wife doesn't. She doesn't give a shit. She's got one foot out the door anyway. So no, there's no one who loves this man enough to tell him to stop. They're just running the gravy train on this dude. That's all that matters. But it's just appalling that these people would be in a tent, in a VIP tent, like they're watching, the Playboy Jazz series at the Hollywood Bowl, and Wynton Marsalis is on stage, and they're just like munching on, I don't know, brie, while people are storming the Capitol building, and they don't give a shit. These are people purportedly who are patriots who supposedly love this country. For those of us who saw anyone who gave two shits about the United States of America, was extremely sad to see the Capitol building overrun. I mean, it's dreadful. There was a time in this country, God, this is going to be the 20th anniversary coming up in September of 9/11. Seems impossible, right? And we were just, during that period of time, Muslim extremists. Muslim extremists ain't got shit on this crowd. These guys could walk the dog with fucking Muslim extremists. White terrorist extremists can kick the ass of those guys. Are you kidding me? That is the real threat to America right now, not some guy in a madrasa over in Jordan. That's the real threat to the United States right now. It's from within, guys.
Well, I don't think we should have to be in the position to pick one or the other, except the problem is, certainly in the last 4 years, the problem with Nazi white supremacist horse shit in this country, right-wing violence, has been completely ignored, 100% ignored, and we're paying the price every day. And you've seen the figures of the number of terrorist acts committed from outside of the United States versus the ones from within. I mean, it's by a factor of 50 to 1.
It's not even close.
It's not even close. By the way, the person who's had the best week, as far as I can tell, is Elon Musk, now the richest guy in the world. Richest guy in the world. He's worth 185 billion. It's probably higher than that. The stock is up another 6% today. Jeff Bezos has said, I give up. I suck. I quit.
That's what he said. I'm retreating to the hills. Because
life isn't worth living.
What does Bezos have? Like 150, 160? I mean, how can you live on that?
No, it says 185, and this was earlier this morning. And so it's probably close to 200 billion. And he will.
What does Bezos have? What is Bezos?
He's on his way. He's on his way. Well, I believe to be the world's first trillionaire individual. So that would be 5 times the amount that he has now if that company keeps on the trajectory that they're on, and that they revolutionize the entire energy industry, which that's their next goal, is to basically turn every plant that produces power into some kind of energy saving solar thing with batteries in there.
What a terrible idea that is. What an awful thing that would be.
Who's going to tell him he's wrong? And the answer is nobody, because he's probably right, and that would quintuple the price of the company and his worth. So good for him. I mean, he is the ultimate. They told him it wouldn't work. You're an idiot. You're crazy, and
he's doing it.
He proved everyone.
He's out there smoking all the weed with Joe Rogan. So God bless him.
As much as he wants, and he can afford it too.
Oh, he can afford all the weed. I might add, as all of these things are happening, and you're like, well, I don't think we should impeach Donald Trump. He's done such a stellar job with Operation Warp Speed. 4,100 people died from the coronavirus yesterday in the United States of America.
Right. Well, the change as we go into the weekend is that Joe Biden has said, open up the barn door and let the horses run.
Yes.
Instead of saving vials of vaccine for the second dose for people that may have already gotten it and are maybe waiting, he's saying, and he's got pretty broad support on this, let's just get as much out as we can now into as many people, because there's a significant, better than 50% efficacy rate for people who get that first shot. And the shot doesn't necessarily, even when you get the second shot, make you completely immune from ever getting it, but it mitigates all the symptoms, and you're much less likely to end up in the hospital, much less likely to end up on a respirator, much less likely to be dead if you just get that first shot. So he's saying, let's get it all out there. And I have confidence in Pfizer and Moderna, and AstraZeneca's coming, and Johnson Wisconsin is coming, and we will keep the pipeline rolling. But let's not sit and let this stuff sit in refrigerators and freezers all over the country. Let's ramp it up. And if any change has occurred from the November election that you can quantify and look at and say, all right, if it would have been Trump, we'd have the same plan in place right now, and it would not change, right? It would never change. And we've got 4,000 dead per day. It's headed to 5,000. It could be at 6,000 before the curve starts to bend, with enough people starting to get the vaccine. And
at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we get 10,000 at least once or twice. I don't want that to happen, but I don't.
But with Joe Biden, the president, and with him gathering people who are clearly better experts, wider experience, people from the Obama administration with Ebola and H1N, I've confidence they will make the right decisions, and that this is the best way to go.
I'll go back to that mythology from the late 70s. The Republicans have always tried to peddle about how awful it was in America during Jimmy Carter's, the end of his term, with the hostages being taken and the gas lines and inflation out of control and all this other shit. My God, what I wouldn't give for a nice gas line right now. I mean, 1979 seems like heaven compared to right now, right?
It's not one or the other. It's not one or the other.
I understand, but the mythology's always been.
But the circumstances that a president operates under are very often and largely not of his own making.
Right.
It's there would have been gas lines if Gerald Ford had beaten Jimmy Carter in 1976. Okay?
But this is great. The circumstances now are greatly of Donald Trump's own doing.
Right. And that's what's so horrendous, because there really are things that you can pin directly on the decisions and the indecisions. And now in the last few months, the complete abandonment of his post. The captain of the ship has been recalled. He has been relieved of his duty, and we're going to throw him in the brig, and he should face trial. And we know that. The question is, what's the setup after that? Where do we go? The 74 million people voted for me. We're not going away. Instead of doing the right thing and saying the American people made their decision. I respect it. I respect the process. And thank you, America. It was the greatest 4 years in the history of the world. Here's where my library is going to be. He can't bring himself to do that. He cannot go there. So we're left with what we've got. We've got a lot of problems.
We do.
I think we're in better shape, and I think it's a great thing that we're going to have a Democratic control in the House and the Senate.
Oh my God!
Even if it's going to be tight, even if they're going to be close votes, even if they're going to have to do horse trading. I mean,
that's fine. But Joe Biden knows how to do that. Joe Biden's a very good politician, especially when it comes to helping with the Senate. We should finish up with some thoughts about the great Tommy Lasorda, who left us today, one of the great managers of all time. And a lot of people are going to talk about his career, obviously, with the Dodgers as one of the most colorful managers of all time. I recall in the year 2000 when he was managing the Olympic baseball team in Sydney, and during the round robin part of that, they were beaten by Cuba. He had dedicated that game to the Cuban exiles in Florida who were not able to go back to their own country. And when they lost that game in the round robin effort, they were mocking him, some of the players for Cuba, saying, "What, did you lose that game for the exiles? Did you do that, Tommy?" And eventually they came back and they ended up winning the gold medal over Cuba. And I certainly appreciate what Tommy Lasorda meant to baseball and what he did for this country back in the year 2000 in those Sydney Olympics.
No, well, I can't let you end on that. Let me tell a trash talk sports story against Trump. This is from yesterday, and this is because of the crush of really important news. This one really got pushed down, and you have to look for it to find it. But Christine Brennan of USA Today wrote a fantastic column yesterday.
Great sports writer, great writer.
With no cameras, nobody saw it. In the bunker, practically, Trump gives out medals of freedom to Gary Player and Annika Sorenstam and the late Babe Didrikson. Okay. Babe couldn't be there. She's dead.
Yeah, she's
Okay?
not with us. Yeah.
And Christine Brennan just garroted Gary Player and Annika Sorenstam for being part of a dog and pony show for Donald Trump the day after
Well,
he started a riot in this country. And she is totally 100% right.
it's
They did not
unfortunate.
have to accept that from him at that moment.
It's unfortunate because Gary Player has been the epitome of class his entire career, but this is a black mark against him. I'll give you that.
But the other black mark against him is during the apartheid years of South Africa.
True.
He was fully in. Now he renounced it.
He has.
He said I was wrong, and we'll give him a pass on that part of it. But he shouldn't have shown up for Donald Trump yesterday.
Yeah.
And Annika Sorenstam, the same thing for all the important women's issues that she stood for, to stand there and accept anything from Donald Trump. Because it's not as if you're accepting this from the United States. You're accepting it from the asshole who decides you get it.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
He has no feelings for Gary Player or Annika Sorenstam. He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't.
And the fact that it had to be done completely surreptitiously that's beautiful. That's
It is.
But they should not have accepted it. All right. When are Jim Jordan and Devin Nunes going to get their medals of freedom?
Very soon. Very soon.
Well,
again, if you go ahead and remove him from office, then you may preclude all that. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
But that's exactly why we have to keep him in there.
That's
we don't want to see those. Is Jim Jordan such a shit that when he gets the Medal of Freedom, he won't be wearing a sport coat?
Absolutely.
He'll be still in his famous garb of just a shirt.
No, he needs to wear the wrestling singlet. He needs to put that on with the headgear and all that shit. That's what I want to see.
I was thinking during the what was going on Wednesday, Fox should have sent Geraldo back in there because, Geraldo has some unfinished war zone.
His nose would have been broken in the first 5 seconds.
Right. All right. We'll see you again soon on Monday. It was a pleasure as always.